Your brain should be braining and your heart should be hearting. If your heart stops hearting, I think you should stop. You get up in the morning and realize that, okay, man, I don't think I want to go there again. You don't want to show up at work, then you should stop.
Is that important for somebody who wants to get into building something on their own? Sales is a big skill set to be having.
Everybody is a seller by birth. When you come to starting a business, the biggest thing that a founder or the owner of the business is that you need to sell your vision. If you don't know how to sell, you shouldn't be starting a company. You're a founder. You start something with an idea. You're the only person who can articulate that idea better than anybody else in the world. Even if you have the best sales guy. You know why? Because what goes with that sale is the passion that you started your company with.
Hi, Romi.
Hi Vish, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Long time no see.
It's almost a couple of decades, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, almost 20 years.
It's a long way back. One of the reasons I'm connecting to you now is because of my brother. I think you were more connected with him earlier.
We worked together
Yeah.
for some time. I think in the previous company that I was consulting with, and then after that on some tech projects that we were working together. Yeah.
Yeah, but I had been seeing you at least for some time. I always seen you as somebody who's bringing a lot of ideas on the table. Once in a while, I see you that, okay, I have this one to build or that one. So where does it come from, these ideas that you bring? Is it inherent with you or you're...
No, I think I'm just curious. If you're curious, questions will be asked. If questions are asked, hopefully answers you'll get. And if you have answers, then I think that's where the thought of doing something new comes from.
Okay, maybe with that, maybe I'll let you introduce. What I know about you is that you are a seasoned entrepreneur and you're also a marketing strategist. And now I know you as a co-founder of SpareIt, which is, as far as I know, is one of the largest B2B platforms on the automotive aftermarket side. You're mostly digitizing the garage operations, and maybe I'll let you.
Seasoned or not, I don't know.
Yeah,
But I've
you are.
always been doing things on my own, working with people as a consultant. Had a company before SpareIt called the Romi Guy, which was called the Return on Marketing Investment, where I did a lot of consulting assignments with hotels, hospitality, education institutions, so on and so forth. And SpareIt is my newest baby. Newest when I say is 5 years old. And while the perception is that we are the largest B2B platform in the automotive aftermarket, yes, we are a B2B platform. We are trying to disrupt how the ecosystem works. When I say ecosystem, I talk about suppliers, the garages themselves. And garages, I mean independent garages, your hole in the wall shops. They are the most unorganized and least touched upon from a digitization point of view.
Okay.
So we are digitizing that so that they get more connected to the vehicle owner, who himself is actually a digitized person to it, right? He's completely digital, he's online, he's got a lot of access to technology. Garages aren't.
So you are trying to connect all the unorganized garages which you felt as a problem area to be solved. Did it? How do we identify such problem areas? Because I think one of the things we at least struggle, let's say, even I come from a background, we tried something, maybe 20 year back, I think around 15 year back, maybe something where we were not really trying to solve a problem. We thought, okay, we are techies, we just wanted to start an company of our own, thinking that our skill set is good enough to start something, right? So what I think in terms of what we understood from all the learnings is that that was not good enough. Maybe somebody who was lacking or some skill set which was missing was maybe on the sales side, right? So what do you feel, that is that important for let's say if somebody wants to get into building something on their own? Sales is a big skill set to be having, or what is the, maybe I'm just trying to understand what could have gone wrong there.
Everybody is a seller by birth. When you come to starting a business, the biggest thing that a founder or the owner of the business is that you need to sell your vision. Because you look at us when we started SpareIt, we had a little traction, but when we were going to an investor, the first investor, I had no product, I had no customer, I just had an idea, and I had a version 27 of the pitch deck,
Okay. What
and
does
I was
that mean?
selling. I had 27 different versions. It kept getting evolved as and when I did. I was trying to better the sales pitch till the version 27 got me investment in the company.
Okay, so you mean it took a long journey
It took
before?
about 18 months. Till then, we
Okay.
were bootstrapped. So we were selling. Everybody has to sell. If you don't know how to sell, you shouldn't be starting a company. You're a founder. You start something with an idea. You're the only person who can articulate that idea better than anybody else in the world. Even if you have the best sales guy. You know why? Because what goes with that sale is the passion that you started your company with. You cannot describe or sell your company or your pitch better than yourself. Sale is an absolute must have. Everybody has it. And sale is something you need to keep practicing. It's not something you do today, you're going to forget tomorrow. You're going to get more and more customers. You're going to do the same process over and over again. You're going to get better over and over again. I don't think sale is something you can delegate. Yes, you will have people that will help you sell better, but it has to start from the top.
Yeah, but that's not really making a lot of us starting something or at least selling, right? There is at least a barrier.
So
All
let
of
me
that,
go
right?
back to that part where you say, okay, before selling, you need to have that idea. What is that idea supposed to do? Right? Let's talk about how do you choose that idea. I think your idea has to solve a relevant problem. It has to be relevant. It has to be impactful. It has to have some amount of your passion attached to it before you can even get down on selling. If you're not convinced on what you're going to sell, what are you going to sell? So that idea has to solve a problem. It has to keep you vested in it long enough for it to mature. It has to incubate. Without all that, it's not going to work.
Okay.
However good as the sale, if you don't have a product, person will buy it once. He's not going to come back and use it again. So the idea itself needs to be first incubated, thought, validated. You need to be convinced by it. Has to solve an impactful problem. If it doesn't, it's not worth selling.
But how do you even validate whether it's an idea to be taken up, whether it can even solve? How do you even normally you are the man with a lot of ideas, I know. So
Ask the question, is anybody going to be willing to pay for this idea? If the answer is no, then you shouldn't do it.
where do you get that answer from?
You have to go and talk to your potential customers, talk to your friends, talk to your family. Charity begins at home. If your friends and family are not convinced with your idea, if they're not going to pay for what you're going to do, there's no way you're going to get money from outside. You have
Okay.
to talk to your potential customers, you have to talk to different stakeholders. It could be friends, family, investors that you know or may not know, consultants. Go to a bank, ask them if they're going to fund your idea. If they say no, ask them why. And they'll give you a hell lot of data for you to go back and think how can you get funded. Banks are the best place to start.
Do they really do that? I
Of course
thought.
they do. Banks
Okay.
today are, I think, in fact, fund a lot more startups than they ever did when I started. They have banks specifically only for startup companies. They have a startup program where they have a certain amount earmarked only to invest in startups. But obviously, it cannot be just any startup. You have to have the same pitch deck, the same impactful problem, what problem you're trying to solve. Do you have
Okay.
any data points? Do you have any research material? Have you done enough and more research on your idea? Have you spent time on the ground talking to your customers and understand if there's actually a problem that exists that you want to solve? Or are you just creating another problem?
But does it apply for anything, let's say, which is could be your very small idea, which might not require bank to be approached for validation? You're talking about maybe something which requires really big money, right?
No,
So,
I didn't require big money. I required little money to start my technology, but I needed to go and validate my idea if the garage actually uses it. You know the answer I got back from the garage. So nobody's even approached us thinking that we will never want to get onto a platform.
Okay.
It was always taken for granted that they were not interested to use any kind of technology. Why? Because when you walk into their garage, it's a small hole in the wall. It has got no laptop. It has got no desktop. It has got no Wi-Fi. The only person that mechanic has is his phone, an Android phone. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't want to be, brought into the technology web. Doesn't mean that I mean, it didn't mean that he did not want to get connected to his customer. Everybody wants to save money. Can technology save 30% of his operational costs? If it can, why won't he apply it? Why won't he take it? These answers I didn't get till I went and sat with the garages to understand, is this something that you need? You have to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Okay.
However small the problem is. Take a cloud kitchen, for example. You want to cook some food. You think it's a great idea. Have you gone to your neighborhood and asked, do you like this food? What kind of food do you like? What preferences do you like? Do you like pani puri or do you like safe puri? Do you like chicken or do you like mutton? You need to validate your idea. I said, start with friends and family. Start small, fail fast, fail small, and then move on to something else.
Maybe around the same thought. There was another idea where the demand is there, but the supply is lacking. So, have you faced? I mean, what happened to such an idea, which is the where the idea is valid, but the demand is already there, but I am struggling with the supply side.
There's a big, there's a very thin line between market creation and business development. Market creation is creating a whole new market for a new product or service. There might be demand for something, but supply is less of an existing product. There are two ways to do it. You create a new product which solves the same problems as a substitute and give it to the existing demand, or you find a different source for that product which is not available here. You import, you do lots of things, it's available somewhere. A lot of people jump into business development before market creation,
Yeah.
right? A new service or a product, there might be lots of business, but are the people ready for it? So that's, you need to go and find out, are they ready for it? You got to create that market. You got to go and say, hey, this is a new product, are you interested, not interested? You have to do a lot of, uh, I would say, co-building, co-developing with your customer to actually realize if that can now be developed as a business. A lot of people jump into business development without knowing if actually a market exists for it.
So, is that the same case? Let's say
It's
I
like
have an
market
exam.
development before business development. Let me put it that way. You have to first develop that market to see if they want it, and then move and say, okay, now can I scale it? That's part of business development.
Is it the same case? Let's say about EV disruption. We know that we are hearing that EV is going to disrupt, but um, when you look at the reality, the adoption is slower.
The adoption happened primarily in the e-commerce and quick commerce space because the government across the world said that we need to be more sustainable, we need to move to a cleaner way of transportation. And that's where the e-commerce guys woke up and said, hey, let's buy EV bikes, they're cheaper, there's no fuel charge, which does not need to be registered with the RTO because it goes at a certain limit of speed. Then somebody else came and said, hey, now that these e-commerce guys are buying bikes, let me become a loan for EVs so that it becomes a no ownership model and it'll boost the adoption of EVs. So what happened? You have a lot of e-commerce companies today who are leasing these vehicles and are giving it to their riders. And what that led to, the traffic, which took me 1 hour to come here,
More than that.
more than an hour to come here. So the point is, because of the no ownership model in the EV, it's become more dangerous, is what I feel, my opinion, for these guys who are on Zomatos and Swiggy bikes, the way they ride. Quick commerce has actually spoilt our traffic. It's completely dangerous.
I also have a thought around quick commerce. Was that even a need?
No,
I
there
don't
wasn't.
really need.
There wasn't. That's called market creation. They
Okay.
created a new market and they made you super lazy. You don't go down to buy a liter of milk, you just Instamart it, isn't
True.
it?
That's true.
So
It
we become
feels
more
like
unhealthy.
it feels like it's forced into us. And
It's not that. It's like we are all a herd mentality.
okay.
Vishy does it, so I should do it. I do it, so he should do it. Hey man, have you tried this? You don't have to go anywhere, man. It's convenience at your doorstep. Just place an order. We become slaves of convenience. We don't want to get up in the morning at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. In my times, when I was younger, we'd go to the Gaushala and pick up milk. Then the Gaushala was made more convenient to the Nandini booth next to our house. So we would go to Nandini booth and pick up. And now just Instamart, half a liter milk I want, just Instamart it, it's home. So quick commerce has made us lazy, man.
Yeah, even I'm seeing some new stuff coming up. There is something I saw they have posted something outside saying, "We will not disturb you. We will deliver at 7 a.m. in the morning." I
Keep it
don't know
outside
what.
your door.
Yeah, what are they trying to solve? I don't. How are they even
They're
getting these
telling you that you're
ideas?
going to get the freshest of goods at this time, and you can sleep in however long you want to sleep, but delivery is guaranteed. Do you need it? No, you don't. Can you live without it? Absolutely, you can.
So
That's
they are
it.
creating, like you said, a new market.
They've already created a new market, and then other players are just getting onto it. For me, it's a marketing gimmick, man. Whether you get milk at 7 a.m. or you get 10 a.m., you need milk when you drink coffee. You get up at 11, you need milk that time. You get up at 6, you need milk that time. So saying that I'm going to give it to you at 7 o'clock is just a gimmick, in my opinion.
So for Romi, what are the kind of ideas which inspires? It used to inspire maybe 10 year back, and now what has changed?
Uh, Ideas which actually solve a problem to a very large extent and not, um, it should solve a genuine problem. It should solve a problem. I'll tell you what I'm doing for SpareIt, right? It is solving the problem of spare parts. Is it a genuine problem? Yes, it is. Is it a large problem? Yes, it is, because availability is an issue. If I don't supply a part to a garage or he doesn't get a part to a garage, he's not going to be able to deliver a vehicle which he's committed to a customer. He loses his reputation. The customer will never go back to him. Customer will be angry with him. He might even lose the payment that he's going to get after the service. It's a problem trying to solve. It's a very commercial problem. But there are larger, impactful problems. Today, you're talking about clean water is an issue. Clean air is an issue. The problem, everyone's talking about solving them, but nobody's actually solving them because they don't know how to solve them. We're talking about putting Wi-Fi in the sky. Do I need it? No, I don't. Do I need to be connected 24 by 7? I don't. It's a good to have. It's not a basic thing that I need to have. I think you need problems to actually solve things which can create impact at scale. Traffic problem. Solve the traffic problem.
Nobody's looking in that
Yeah,
direction.
solve the traffic problem. Instead of adding more vehicles, figure out making wider roads. Figure out making smoother roads. I mean, come on, man. You guys are into AI and things like that. You guys have to solve this. Use AI for that reason, no? Not for doing Ghibli photos. We've done it. I'm just saying all of us do it. We need to have that fun. But I'm saying there are better and more serious issues that people need to solve. And that's where I think the passion from ideas come from. What I knew 10 years back and what I know today, you cannot do anything on your own today. You cannot work in silos. 10 years back, I can do this, I can do that. I was afraid of delegating things to people. I can do the job better than anybody else. That was the attitude. Today, there are things that have already been built. There are models that have already been done and evolved and matured. There's nothing known as a new idea today. Today, you need to have a team to deliver that idea. You need to have a team to execute the idea. Yes, you need to have a great team, a right team. You need to have partners to be with you to build that idea. If you want everything on your own, it's not going to work. The problem with us is that we are working so much in silos that we kind of tend to lose sight on what can be. If we don't collaborate, build an ecosystem of what is already out there, it's not going to work.
So that's a realization which has come to you, maybe.
While building SpareIt, because whoever we go to and talk about it, they're working in silos. The OEM doesn't talk
Yeah.
to the garage. The garage doesn't talk to somebody else. The supplier doesn't talk. Everyone holds their cards really close. If we don't collaborate, there's no way this business or anybody, any idea can actually improve. Collaboration, I think, is the key for tomorrow.
And what do you feel about the Indian, let's say, the startup system? Are they really solving real problems? Or, like you said, they are just creating a market which is not required and then
See, I
just
would
trying.
tend to move to they're creating a market which is not required. But then the other side of it is they're also giving jobs to people. They're giving employment to a lot of people. There's never a right or wrong answer to it. There are people doing absolutely amazing stuff. There are people doing good stuff. Is it solving a problem? I think at some point it did solve a problem, and then it became a commercial idea.
Again, I wanted to know something about you. Like, I think you did not answer it yet. You said sales, people have to do it, but yeah, I think it's a tough ask for anybody like me or anyone else who's a regular guy wanting to do create ideas, go sell it, right? So, is that something you can build later in your life, or is it has to be inherent within you that you are?
No, see, everybody has got some degree or conviction to sell. They're born with it.
But what is the
How
barrier?
good it is how you keep doing it over and over again. Problem is people don't do it. They think that it's not my job. I will hire somebody else to sell it for me. And I told you this that they can sell it for you. They will sell it for you, but not as good as you. And if you don't understand how to sell, how will they sell what you want to sell? You can learn how to sell. Stand in front of a mirror, keep saying, this is my pitch going to be for this person. Then that pitch gets better and better and better and better. You can go learn how to sell, how to talk, how to communicate, how to articulate. You need to. If you can't describe your business in 9 words or 7 words or whatever number of words, if you can't articulate that really well, you're never going to be able to sell.
So you mean, let's say, normally everyone gives this example, right? Go sell this pen. I can't do that even now, but maybe for you it might be a cakewalk, right?
No, it's not a cakewalk. It's how good you are at then telling that story. Every product, every vision will have a story. What that story is for that particular person who wants to sell to develop. Can that story be better or bettered? Yes, it can. And that will only come when you start selling. Today, day one, this is a great pen. It writes absolutely flawlessly. Somebody might buy it. Somebody say, no man, I have many more pens like this. Then you'll go back and say, this is a great pen. It comes with, it writes beautifully, and the ink never gets over. That's another point that you've added. You know, then somebody says, no man, I've got this pen where the ink never gets over. Then you say, okay, third time you'll go to a person. Hey, it's a great pen. The ink never gets over. It writes beautifully. But you know what? It comes with a secret compartment where you can take a photograph. It takes a snapshot of what you're writing. The fourth guy will say, hey man, it's got built-in AI, where when you're writing, automatically it prompts you what to write.
Those autocorrects.
So it just gets better and better and better every time you go and sell. The first sale is the hardest. And then it becomes better and better and better. And then it becomes so inherent to you that you don't have to think what you're going to sell or what you want to say to sell.
Yeah,
So it's a journey, it's a process.
that gives hope to me too, and anybody who's maybe watching this, because I was always believing you have to be inherently somebody who knows how to sell,
No,
right? But
you
you will learn
you
the,
already are a salesperson.
like you said.
You already are a salesperson. You just need to do it over and over again for it to become better. The problem is that we do it once, we do it twice, and we give up,
Because
saying
we
that,
don't
hey
see
man,
success.
I can't sell, so maybe I should find somebody who can sell better. The problem is, why do you give up? You shouldn't give up.
Yeah, I think giving up is the next topic which I
Okay.
want to come to. I also have seen, maybe, I don't know whether you have delegated all of those ideas to build to somebody else, but I have seen some of your ideas also fizzle out from ideation phase. I've even heard you say, no, you're not taking it up, man. I don't think I don't know. There was one last one. I think it was a swap application
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
you were. I don't know
So I
whether you
think that
built.
happened because we didn't get enough product validation,
Yeah.
idea
So.
validation. We didn't get it, right? So I think you should know when to quit. You need to know when you should be persistent and when you should not be persistent. Uh, if you know when to quit, it's a great skill to have. You cannot keep going and doing something when people are not looking at doing it. They're not adopting your product, but still you want to do it, do it, do it. That's being stupid, right? I don't think you should. So that's called stubborn persistence for me. The market is telling you that we don't need it, but still you're persistent because you're trying to prove a point. That's not worth it. You're going to lose everything. You're going to lose your money. You're going to lose sleep. You're going to lose a lot of things. You'll be smart persistent, where you've got an understanding of what the market wants, and you're persistent enough to sell to that market and keep enhancing what you have to make it better. You need to look at things then, okay, am I getting paid for that, for being so persistent or not? You can't be stupid persistent or stubborn persistent. Why we give up on ideas also is that every business has a curve. You start up, the first stage is uninformed optimism, is what I call it.
What does that really mean?
You really don't know what the market wants, but you're super optimistic because the idea sounds really great in your head. You have early adopters, people will buy your product, they'll use your service. After a while, people realize, man, this product is not that great, service not great. Why? Because you've not done your market research properly. And then there's a dip, right? When it dips, it becomes informed pessimism, right? If now you know what the market wants, but that you're down on, okay, man, I didn't do so well. I wish I had done my enough due diligence before I started. So there's a little bit of pessimism which has come, but still business is going, it's working. Then you come into the valley of despair. That's where the ideas go to die. That's where your business goes to die. That's where you got to go to the reset button when you're in that valley of despair. A lot of people die in that valley of despair. Businesses die in valley of despair. But if you fix things, then you go back and reset what you're doing. Then what happens is you have informed optimism. Informed optimism.
Back.
You're getting back. Right now, you're informed. You know how the market performs. You know what the customer wants. You reset the buttons. You're doing things right in a certain way, and then you start going very slowly upward. And then the final one is actually the success or the North Star. Where actually then you're becoming successful. Not everybody is able to cross this chasm or this valley of despair.
Despair. People, what do you suggest? That everyone should not reach that phase
No, you
even
will
before
reach that
that?
phase. So my point is,
Calibrate.
why do you start an uninformed optimism? Why don't you start being informed? Where you do your
Informed
market
optimism
research,
is more.
product validation, idea validation. My company incorporated in 2019. I started business operations in May 2020. It took me 1 year to reach to this informed optimization state because I spent time meeting 500 garages, 200 suppliers, different kinds of people, manufacturers, retailers. Actually understood. I traveled to about 6 different states because North is very different from South.
Yeah.
I went to Delhi, Gurgaon. I went to a lot of these auto mechanica shows to understand, is there a problem I'm actually trying to solve? I'm actually trying to just do something.
That's too much of an effort for validating an idea, right? Like, how, if let's say you are doing it and then identifying it's not worth pursuing, let's say after maybe 1.5 years, you spent all of your energy
There's a
there.
learning, right?
But how many can you afford to
No, you
do?
can't. I was on a break, man. I had
Okay.
nothing else to do. And I did it. And more importantly, I did not understand the automotive market. I'm not from the automotive space. So I needed that time for myself to understand if I want to get in this or not. Opportunity is huge. It's a $60 billion market. It's huge, right? If you want a slice of that pie, you have to put in the effort. I'm not talking effort. And I took 1 year to understand the market. Doesn't mean I was not building something on the side. I was. I was building small MVPs
Okay.
and doing
That
it.
was really happening.
Yeah, that was also happening. But I'm still learning the market. I'm still studying. I'm still meeting people to see, and every day I'm getting to know something new. Is validation a one-time process? No, is it not? Is market research a one-time process? No, it's not. Why? Because the market is changing every day. It's a continuous process. You have to keep your ear on the ground. You have to go meet your customers and know what you're doing.
So is that the first time that you had such kind of a, what do you call that word? Optimism of
Uninformed optimism.
uninformed optimism, becoming an informed optimism. Uh, was that the first time you
No,
were
thankfully, I had a partner of mine who understood the automotive aftermarket. So there was some amount of informed optimism already,
okay?
but not everybody will
Has
have that.
the luxury to
Everybody
do that.
starts with an idea, right? Hey man, it looks great, it sounds great, it feels great. That's a great place to be. Now let's go and see whether it's what you're thinking is actually informed or uninformed. Go and ask the people next door. Hey, I have this great idea. Do you think it's going to work? Figure out, give them some more information to chew on. They'll come back to you and tell you whether it's going to work or no. You'll talk to 5 people. Then make the 5 people 50 people. Make the 50 people 100 people. If it works for 100 people, it'll work for 1,000. But it doesn't mean if it works 1,000, it'll work for 10,000. It may not work. Right? So you need to constantly innovate and keep enhancing. Our business model started something different. Today it is something different. Right? And that's why, because we're constantly trying to see not to die in the valley of despair. Right? Are we in the valley of despair? Yes, we are in the valley of despair, but we're also on the way up. So how many of us want to give up at the valley of despair is the question you have to ask yourself. But then again, all this is very subjective, okay?
Yeah, that's what,
It's
because
subjective because you need to know, have you actually been through the informed optimism or uninformed? Have you validated your product or not validated your product idea?
you need to know if there is an upside.
Of
Otherwise, you
course.
are always worried. It's always a downside.
So
Right?
I'll give you another reason why people drop out. They're too attached to outcomes. What do I mean by that? I want to build this company that's going to go IPO. I'm going to get shitloads of money. I'm going to go public. It has to be 1,000 crore company. I want to be a unicorn. That's an outcome.
So they are starting with this
With that
outcome in
outcome,
mind. Okay.
but they're not thinking about the journey that's going to take them there. I think we're so focused on the outcome, we kind of forget about the journey. And the journey is what matters. The journey is hard. People tell you, hey man, just because somebody built a Swiggy, you can build a Blinkit or a Zomato or whatever the case may be. It's not easy, man.
Even I don't understand that concept. Everyone wants to be the next Swiggy or Zomato, right? Why can't just be an intermediate where you are making profit? You don't want to be a unicorn, but you can still stay relevant, make money. I don't.
There's a very thin line between greed and need.
Yeah.
And that's what defines what you want to do. If you need something, you will be what you just said. But if you want to greed for something, you want to be what Swiggy is. The market is huge, no doubt, but people are so used to early adopt. I mean, your first movers, right? They want to. It's very difficult for you to move some parts of their pie into yours.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Because anytime I ask somebody, why are we not doing this? They say, these guys are already there, big. So I can't really do there much. But I don't believe you can still be relevant, maybe take a small pie out of it, right? Or is
It
that
goes
not even
back to your
possible?
insights on, do you want to put in the kind of effort for that small pie, right?
But
And it
already
goes
market validation has happened, right?
market again. Market validation has happened because today but they're still making losses, huge losses. So
Which
which
is
means
not
if you
visible to
which
anybody.
is not visible to anybody. When you want to go into that market, you also have to, if you have an idea which is similar to that, or taking a pie without making losses, without losing lots of money, gives you sleep at night, do it. See, the appetite in India, no, the appetite of risk is very low.
Yeah, I know. Start from home because they start pulling you back.
Exactly. So my point is, it also depends on a lot of factors. We're not in the Silicon Valley where people fund failures. They fund somebody who's lost a company because they believe that he's learned something
Yeah.
and cannot make the same mistake again. Here, people don't fund people who've lost. People don't fund people who've lost and taken that risk, or take risk and taken that loss.
That's a good example you give, because I have this experience now. I have only experience building something, no profit monetarily, but this has led to my ex boss approaching me. You build this, we know your capability, you run the show, so that's the reason I want you to drive this one as a new opportunity, right? Which is maybe I would take as a lessons learned from all the things I have done, maybe. So
Absolutely. The point is, you need to make mistakes.
yeah.
If you don't make mistakes, you're never going to learn. But you can't keep making the same mistakes and not learn from them. And then that means you don't need to be in business, man. You don't need to try something new, because then you need to settle for a 9 to 5 where you have a very set bunch of tasks. Entrepreneurship is may not be, I'm not saying is not, may not be for everyone,
Yeah.
because it requires a lot of grind. There's a lot of grind. There's a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of blood, a lot of sweat at the cost of a lot of things. Somebody told me that, having a startup is like giving birth to a baby and then ensuring that that baby grows up hale and hearty. Yeah, it is. You've put in your life trying to build something, you want to see it succeed, but there are times it may not succeed. You need to know when to quit.
Do you have a framework for quitting which anybody can follow, or it's
The
just
day
gut
you
feeling?
stop getting up, the day you get up in the morning and say, hey man, I can't do this anymore, it's not worth doing this anymore, you should quit.
That's only framework to follow.
The moment the heart comes out of your business, you want to stop doing what you're doing, then you should stop. If your brain continues to do it because it's going to give you money, yeah, it will move, it will continue. But you're not going to give it the kind of focus that you gave it when you once started. As somebody told me, your brain should be braining and your heart should be hearting. If your heart stops hearting, I think you should stop. You get up in the morning and realize that, okay, man, I don't think I want to go there again. You don't want to show up. You don't want to show up at work, then you should stop.